China's economy continues to deteriorate with a wave of unemployment looming. Beijing, as the political center of the CCP, is the window through which the party vigorously maintains its so-called economic prosperity. Still, even on the streets of Beijing, this scene can be seen. Let's take a look at the current situation of Beijing's physical stores. It's like a horror movie. This is the area under my building. Half of the stores in the community are up for rent. Those with signs of sticks should be transferred by now, except for this lottery station and the pharmacy. No other business has survived more than 2 years. As you can see, the rate of shop closures is very high, which shows the actual economic situation in the area. With so many shops closing in Beijing, the high-end office buildings are empty. The office building rental market in Beijing can't hold up either. The vacancy rates in buildings like Carry Market in the CBD, WFC, and FFC in the China World Trade Center are all over 30%. The vacancy rate of the office buildings in the business center is over 40%, and the vacancy rate of high-end office buildings in Wangjing area is generally over 30%. The vacancy rate in the financial sector is also very high, and rents have generally been cut in half or even to less than 1/3 of the pandemic period. This suggests that many businesses in Beijing have closed. One landlord described the current dire situation in Beijing. You who have a job in Beijing, don't quit your job. There are a lot of people who don't have jobs right now. Take my rented apartment as an example. In the past, you had to pay 1 month's rental fee as the deposit and 3 months rental fee in advance for 1 year's term, and no one thought that was a problem. Now, most people ask me if they can rent for half a month or a month, and some even ask if they can rent until the new year. A blogger who has been working in Beijing since 2006 said these words. Do you know how miserable Beijing is this year? No matter what industry you're in, most companies are cutting wages, laying off workers, and tightening their belts. Some companies haven't paid wages in 6 months. Poorly managed companies are closing down one by one, and even the good ones are not making a profit. I came to Beijing in 2006 and have been working here for 18 years, but I have never seen anything like this. A girl in Beijing posted her colleague's experience of being laid off. The layoffs have started again. The last layoff wasn't even 2 months ago. I just came into the office in the morning and got a rumor from a coworker that there would be layoffs. Around 5 p.m., the company's human resources department began approaching each employee, telling them that they no longer needed to come to work after transferring their current jobs. My colleagues in customer service were also laid off. Now, I'm all alone. In our department of more than 20 people, after 3 rounds of layoffs, there are only 3 of us left. Everyone's workload is getting heavier and heavier, and just like that, my boss still wants me to discuss a pay cut. After being in Beijing for so long, this is the first time I've really felt the pressure and anxiety. She said that on the subway to and from work recently, almost everyone around her was discussing work, layoffs, and pay cuts. She sighed that Beijing was no longer the Beijing she knew, with prices rising and wages falling. Not only are there massive layoffs in Beijing, but it's also difficult for young people to find jobs. I've been talking to friends and clients lately, and we all feel the pressure of the economic downturn. The atmosphere in town is a bit despondent. It may be that the superficial prosperity won't last long, especially some service and design industries, including our accounting industry, which provides accounting services to businesses and individuals, are seeing a sharp decline in demand. Fewer and fewer people are registering, and more are canceling their accounts. Young people like us, despite our qualifications, can't find a suitable way forward. The lady said that many of her friends and classmates are basically unable to find stable jobs, and it's really becoming more difficult to survive. A woman with extensive work experience revealed the employment situation in Beijing. She said she quit at the end of February 2024 and has not found a job yet. I have a healthy body and an intelligent mind, but why can't I find a job? Is there something wrong with me? I tell you, it's really not my problem. The job market these days is like 10 people fighting over one stool, and all these 10 have excellent qualifications and experience. How good was the job market in Beijing in the past? At that time, I just changed my resume on the subway, and as soon as I got off, no less than 10 recruiters approached me. The lady said that now she had changed and revised her resume repeatedly, bragging about her achievements, and then posted it on the job market. She took the initiative to contact 100 people, but only 2 responded. The current job market and employment environment in Beijing is really terrible. I just graduated this year and have already changed jobs 3 times since graduation. This is my 3rd job. I left my first one after 1 week. My second job only lasted 2 months because the overtime was too much with no overtime pay. Then there's this current job, which I found a month after I left my last one. It's a small company, but I'm very happy. The girl said that the current job market in Beijing is really terrible and it's simply impossible to find a job. She is a fresh master's graduate and almost all the offers she could have this month are sales related, which she finds unsatisfying and feels helpless. I am a single woman born in 1995. I quit my 10-year job in Jiangsu province and try to find work in Beijing. I have been in Beijing for more than a month, but I have not found one yet. Being rejected at every interview, I must admit that it's really hard to find a job in Beijing this year. There are too many layoffs of graduates from the prestigious 985 and 211 universities. This year, especially those programmers in large factories, those who work in the internet industry, have seen various pay cuts and layoffs. Companies would rather pay N+1 fees to lay off these middle-aged older workers than to keep them. She said that the shops downstairs all had transfer information posted on doors, and now more and more people are running DD rides and doing food delivery jobs. In the end, the woman went back to her hometown. People who can't find work can't just sit around and starve. They have to find a way to make a living. See, more than a dozen people, many of them young, are streaming in a very short distance street. This is Beijing, Quanmin Beijing Street. Let's see how many people are streaming live here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then look over there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are more over here, 11, and there are more over there, 12. There are 13 or 14 people doing live streams in this area. Even if you have a job, you have to find ways to save money. Hi everyone, it feels like the cost of living is pretty high. I make $411 a month and spend $206 on transportation and food, $69 for rent, gas and other utilities. If I don't socialize, don't go out to eat, don't buy clothes and don't buy gifts, I can save around $140. To keep this $140 savings, I have to be healthy because if I get sick, I won't be able to save any money. It's really hard. People in Beijing who do not have registered households are called Beijing drifters. Fewer and fewer people are drifting around Beijing, said a girl in this city. Don't come to Beijing. I don't have a job and I can't afford to eat now. Listen to me, just stay in your hometown, prepare for winter and wait for the new year. Your health is the most important thing. This is a conversation between a girl and her friend that shows the mind changes of the Beijing drifters. Yesterday, I had dinner with a friend. He said he was preparing to take his wife and child back to his hometown, which is the last dinner we have. I said that you have given Beijing many years of your youth, and now it's a pity that you are leaving. He said that he was now afraid to go to shopping malls, that the mortgage of more than $1,000 a month was suffocating him, that the company's performance was not good, and that wages were not rising but falling, and even so, they were full of competition. It can be seen that these drifting people can hardly see the good prospects of living in the capital. One blogger analyzed the reasons why people are fleeing Beijing. I think it may be caused by the greater pressure of life, as well as the reduction of jobs in Beijing, which has led to a large surplus of labor. On the other hand, the increasing pressure of life, the contradiction between falling wages and high rents, and the gradual increase in prices. All of these led to a continuous loss of Beijing drifters. If you have any chance to save money by working in the city, you won't choose to leave. Beijing as the capital has always been a modern international city that the CCP strives to build. The purpose is to create an illusion of prosperity for the party and put gold on its face. However, with the severe downturn of the Chinese economy, the CCP can no longer maintain this face. In December 2024, according to the latest statistics released by the National Bureau of Statistics of China, Beijing's total retail sales of consumer goods in November was US $17.47 billion, down 14.1% compared with the same period in 2023. The corresponding figure for Shanghai was US $19.77 billion, down 13.5% year-on-year. The cumulative decline in total retail sales of consumer goods in the first 11 months of 2024 in the two cities has widened to 2.8 and 3.1% respectively. both lower than the overall level in China. A market analyst said that an important reason for the negative growth of retail sales in Beijing and Shanghai is that with the withdrawal of some foreign companies from China in recent years, some of the high net worth individuals have left, leading to a weakening of related consumption. This impact may have been there for a long time, but it became most apparent in 2024. What kind of lives do people in Beijing have now? A woman said that her classmate was complaining bitterly on the phone. He said he can't pay the mortgage, it's been overdue several times. The company laid off workers and cut salaries, and he has to pay the mortgage again soon. His pocket is even cleaner than his face. He can't even keep $137 in hand. He is about to collapse. After the phone call, I felt pretty bad. There must be many similar situations in Beijing. The wages of ordinary workers are barely enough to cover their living expenses. Many people are afraid to get married, let alone have children. This is also a true picture of many people working in Beijing. A woman describes the current situation of herself and her colleagues working in Beijing. No job is easy, even if you still have work to do. One person has to do the work of several people. Some companies owe wages. People talk privately. The topics are not about a raise or a job change, but about whether they are on the list of layoffs next month. So now inner competition and anxiety have become the standard. As a result, more and more people are choosing to leave Beijing. Beijing's subway stations have become deserted. I'm wondering if I'm in Beijing now. I get on the subway at Yang'an Station on Line 1. There are surprisingly few people on the subway, which makes me feel really uncomfortable. There are very few cars on the streets of Beijing as well. Look at the streets of Beijing. There are basically no cars at noon. Let's change streets and lanes again to see if there are still no people or cars. Let's change lanes again to see the traffic in Beijing. Where has everyone gone? The answer is that many people return to their hometowns. A female blogger revealed. No hope to earn money. The back home trend has already begun. It's only December and the first group of people preparing to go home have already started. Landlords are surrendered by tenants who want to move out. The parks that are usually full on weekends are now sparsely populated. Consumers' purchasing power has not improved due to sluggish domestic demand. The working income in Beijing is now even lower than 10 years ago. As a result, many people decide to return to their hometowns. More and more people over the age of 35, not to mention those over 50, are choosing to return to their hometowns. This is especially true as the city's economy is in the doldrums. Even in the cheaper restaurants, there are very few people. The economic winter is really here. What's colder than Beijing's winter is the economic winter. This is the 4th floor of the Wanda Plaza in Beijing. These are all food brands with an average spending of $4 to $6 per person. Now they're all upstairs, while before they could only afford to stay in the first basement floor. Oh, the sauce bones, the rice noodles here, and the pan-fried buns. The Chongqing noodles here, the handmade dumplings, and this kind of small clay pot. The netizen said that these relatively inexpensive eateries are now all on the 4th floor of the mall. However, there are still very few people in these stores. He lamented that these small food vendors have been upgraded, but our consumption has been downgraded. As the economic winter approaches, the CCP cannot even cover up Beijing's tragedy. What does this mean? That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.